You can visualize it, right?
Well delivered. Well
there you go. So, a perfect bookend to our previous episode where we recorded just before they launched this mission to go around the moon. And now we are recording hours before they land back on Earth. That's happening in a couple hours. So
your
that's
friend,
cool.
Your
yes,
acquaintance,
my acquaintance,
your person you have who's in your sphere.
Yes.
Person who has passed through your life, a person of
for the past 10 days she's been out of everyone's sphere, but yeah, she's coming back.
Sure.
So there's that. But yeah, that's pretty exciting that like they set the record for the farthest humans have ever traveled. Like
in going around the moon?
Yeah, like they went further from Earth than any humans ever did.
Out. The slingshot mode.
Well, it was just the way that their orbit thing happened, but yeah. And I've only heard one other person think this or express this, but like, you know, depending on where they were in the capsule, one of them actually went the furthest, right?
Right. It's like the firstborn. So, corresponding with that, I'm going to give you a quote, and you tell me what the quote is from, as specifically as you can. The only explanation was, it wasn't the sun. I was in a different solar system.
Well done. Did you see the movie or reading the book?
Reading the book.
Sweet.
Went to my library and they had it right at... They said, yeah, we have a copy, but it's on hold. It's right here, but you're here and he's not here, so you can have it. It's
so fuck the rules.
Son of a bitch. I'm happy. Well, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I didn't understand.
It's like, what does on hold mean if any old weirdo can just come and take it?
I don't know.
It's like when I reserve a table at a restaurant, I expect it to be available.
Right. Well, it could be that it was on hold, but the on hold time was over. And it could be he was supposed to have been here today. He's not here yet, so it's yours. Could be. I wasn't paying that much attention. I just knew she mumbled something, he mumbled something, and then I had the book. And I said, oh, I can't have it? And he's like, yeah, I just explained it.
How far along are you?
Well, that's my last sentence.
Okay.
That's chapter 3.
Nice. Yeah, it's
very, very intriguing. It's so cleverly written.
Right. It's the like I'm sure I mentioned last episode. It's this style of storytelling where the reader is figuring shit out at the same time as the protagonist. And
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, so he just found out his name, which is Ryland Grace.
Yes.
Which is quite an interesting name.
It is.
Dr. Ryland.
I swear I heard an interview where the author talked about where he got the name Ryland, but Grace was just too much of a good pun to go with Hail Mary. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love the like the first sentence of like, what is 2 + 2 is so like it immediately disorients you of like what the fuck is this, and where am I, and where is he, and who are we, and what are we doing here, and yeah. Well, I'm very pleased, and I look forward to discussing the rest of the contents.
So while we're in the general frame of entertainment, we should jump into DTF St. Louis
Go to
because
Missouri.
it is one more episode to the end of the season. And what transpired this last episode was tragic.
Super
One
sad.
tragedy after another.
Yeah.
Beginning with the opening sequence of him finally getting mostly a pop-up, as he calls it. Mostly a full
on.
pop-up.
Yes.
And she's full on, right, full on. And she's disappointed in the position, and Clark is watching, and
It's
then,
such an uncomfortable
faints.
scene for all three characters and us, the audience, because it's just the saddest.
So they've AI'd his body. Because as you said, when he's in costume, he's wearing
It's a prosthetic.
padding, but in these... I know, but in the semi-nude scene, it's AI'd so that there's no telling.
I don't know about AI, but it's been adjusted so you can't see the seam. Sure.
Yeah. But not that mattered a bit. But the whole... the interesting thing about it in hindsight is how careful Clark was to make sure that Tiger was not known to him, and he went to these extraordinary measures to make that happen. And yet, when the gig was
Dennis
up,
plan.
he made no bones about doing it right in front of him. He knew that he could be seen because he saw the dude there. He saw the purported boner man there. So he didn't call him away and say, "Come over here and talk." He didn't try to, and then he admitted it in sign language, and knowing, of course, that it would be more
devastating.
negative.
It would be more devastating.
More devastating, that's the word, than if he'd never done anything at all.
Yes.
But at what part of him are you telling me that he didn't think of that when he did that in full view? What are you doing? He knew he was right there. And so this is either a giant plot hole, which would be sad because there hasn't been. It's such a mystery and such an odd.
I feel like
duck
Clark is
kind of-
acting out of good intention, but not making necessarily the best decisions. And
Of course, he did freeze on the set too. That was a sign of unexplained.
well, and a
Never
clue to the opening sequence that we see every episode, where
Oh right,
and
the jujitsu
yeah,
thing.
the karate, yeah,
Karate.
and we always one would have imagined that it was just sort of a thing he did to like pump himself up to go out and be all charismatic as a weather dude, but yeah. So the unofficial podcast that someone is making about this show, that is actual people from a a news television station in St. Louis. So like they know about this stuff. They had two really interesting interviews about this particular episode. One, they interviewed an actual weatherman in St. Louis, and he talked about how they're not like the fact that he's a weatherman is just not really an important part of the story. It's just an incidental thing, and they're not paying too much attention to making that realistic. He said actual meteorologists spend a lot of time every day like poring over maps and shit, and he seems to just go on TV and tell you what the high and low weather temperature is.
Well, although we talked about this point, and I'm reminded of it with your comment, is that these episodes are showing sometimes 2 to 3, sometimes 5-minute samples of a 24-hour period
Right.
in anybody's.
Right, exactly. So,
And what we don't know is 23 hours and 50 minutes of what
Sure.
else is going on, which, so I don't know that that's a plot hole, but I think this thing with
well, and
this emotional...
and the whole pumping yourself up to go out there and or breaking down on the in the studio was also, he said, that's a thing that's never ever happened. But and the other,
So far inexplicable. We're going to find out in the last episode.
we sure darn hope so.
There's something wrong with Forrest.
There can't be
He's sick.
there can't be a second season of this, right? Like, they have to wrap it up, and it's just a finished thing.
It seems to me that it could be in the line of True Detective, in that there could be a follow-up episode, but it'd be another
Story,
Kind
other
of
people. Yeah.
related
Yeah.
story. Not related necessarily,
Right.
but only related in the fact of True Detective. Each one was a detective story, and this,
It could be other users of the app
you know.
and how it affects their life, right? Because the show is named after the app. So,
Right.
and the other, remember last time
Yeah.
we talked, I expressed that I'd be really curious to hear someone that knows sign language, what they think of this show.
Oh, yeah, and you did. You figured you did.
Well, and so they interviewed a with an interpreter. They interviewed a deaf woman that is also like an interpreter for various things, and apparently they did a really shitty job. They're just making shit up. It's not remotely close to American Sign Language.
I never would have guessed that in a million
And
years.
how, like, I sort of knew that American Sign Language, it isn't directly word for word, like spoken English.
Yeah.
Like, they have a different grammar
Yeah.
and a different way that they put the words
Yeah.
together. And facial expression is incredibly important. Like, where your eyebrows are change
Yeah.
the meaning of words. How one thing that I did not know is because of that, there are a lot of deaf people that know sign language but don't necessarily read English well. Which is why it's important to have sign language interpreters for like news events and things, and that the just putting closed captioning is not good enough for accessibility for all the people, which I did not know that. Like, because the grammar is so different, you can grow up speaking sign language, but then like someone tries to teach you English, and it's like, this is a totally different grammar. I have to figure out what the hell these words mean.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so that was a new learning for me. But yeah, apparently, and the person they interviewed like was so disappointed because like it wouldn't have taken much effort to get it right. It's like if they were speaking Japanese and they just sort of made up Japanese sounding sounds, like that would be considered unacceptable, and that's sort of the equivalent of what they're doing here.
So your criticism, which is well founded, leads me to believe that it very well may be a plot hole that I'm discovering, because it's showing that there's a certain level of laziness among the screenwriters.
Yes.
And a apathy toward realism. And one would think in a show that is so odd and quirky, and quite credible in its development and its awkwardness throughout. But you would think that given that oddity, that the things that they wanted to be normal were actually real, such as the sign language. I mean, you know, it's laziness.
I wouldn't mind so much if like the drug that is part of the plot like was just a made up drug, whatever. But yeah, it's just. And the people in this podcast that are from St. Louis are always disappointed that, like, they have such beautiful architecture that could be, at least in like an establishing shot, right? Could be used, but whatever.
So let me ask you this: is there any doubt in your mind at this point that this is the result of a suicide, except for one nagging question?
It feels really, really suicide-y. The question...
Suicide.
The question...
Not to make light of it. Oh, I know, son.
Apple suicider.
It's April Fool's Day.
Yeah. The bike is a...
Yes, that's the unanswered question. You know, I think it was.
I feel like maybe the son, Richard, went there and then left. And had some
it was
sort
one
of
more
exchange, or was like trying to prevent his father from this suicide.
It very well could be that his father had invited him.
And he got there too late or something.
No, he didn't get there too late. His father invited him to say goodbye to him, and then he said goodbye to him, and then
his father figure,
and he hasn't come forward. And he hasn't come forward with it yet, because his dad made him promise that he wouldn't. And the kid understood what his dad said to him, and the scene between Floyd and his son that we're going to see in the final episode is going to be a absolute tearjerker.
Yeah, I think you might be dead on there. Don't like suicides nullify life insurance claims, right? Often, like I don't think so.
Yes.
That like there's going to be some.
Maybe she found him dead and discovered him dead, and so decided that she'd get the insurance money if she drove the bike there and acted like she killed him. She'd rather go to prison. She'd rather go to prison and be a millionaire than lose the insurance policy. So she went there after he had killed himself, and they're going to discover.
Hold on.
Don't they have a time sequence?
Wait. If suicide nullifies life insurance, I'm pretty sure murder is going to as well. It's like the perfect motive.
No, not if you're the victim. Your beneficiary could be questioned.
If the beneficiary is the murderer,
son could,
then. But isn't she the beneficiary?
Then the judge says there's something called a secondary beneficiary in case your beneficiary is dead,
or in prison, or cause the payout to happen.
Cause the death.
I don't know about that. I think.
Excuse me. No, well. Yeah.
That doesn't work. I think I'm definitely on the tearjerker father speech. I think that's...
Yeah, it's the question is really, how does the sweetest of men, who now has been disappointed in two pivotal parts of his fantasy life, one, reconnecting with his wife, and two, connecting with a man who at least is as lonely as he is, so that he has, and he has never, ever indicated that he wasn't, that he couldn't be interested in a man sexually. He's never indicated that.
He's open to connection. That's how he would put it.
Yeah, and when the scene that I mentioned last time, which I'll mention again here, pivotal, is when they finally showed his face after connecting with the roller rink lover boy,
Modern Love,
the David Bowie lover boy. What's his name? Modern Love. The look on his face after the kiss, which was pure joy. Pure joy. And that was enough to indicate that when Forrest was like acting like, well, you're not interested in men, well, why wasn't it interesting that Forrest wore a nipple showing tight shirt in the vineyard in the winery visits with his nipple showing?
Yes.
What did you think? In pink?
That was a choice that was made. So.
And his nipples aren't always that way. They had to put a motherfucking ice cube on him in between takes. I mean, and drinking each other's wine. And what Forrest says is he loves him, but he doesn't seem to understand that it's a bromance in the true, in the true meaning of the word. And it's all but sexual.
Yep.
It's all
but sexual. Yep.
Even the closeness, the most intimate of actions between couples has to do with stroking each other's or touching each other's hair.
Right.
It's a well-known phenomenon. There are many scenes when Floyd is hugging him and petting his hair, and it's as intimate as can be. And what is strange is that Forrest, of course, is such a sexual question mark.
Right.
I mean, he is ending up having intercourse with Carol, although it's never been particularly explicit.
Bizarre intercourse, yeah.
Well, if in fact the power move that was so odd was actual intercourse, I don't think it was. Her standing up behind him and saying things. I don't.
It's just
I don't
weird.
know. Do you know? Do you think that they've had intercourse? Because I'm not sure they have.
You think the whole pool boy and robot stuff was just to play, and then when
I don't know. We're left to not. We left. It's left unknown. It's a plot fact that we get to fill in the blanks.
And all the,
but what we don't.
All the weight play. I like having your weight on top of me, or just sit on my face and answer your emails. And it's like,
take care of your bills.
What? It's like they tried to find just the weirdest possible kinks.
What about this line that stuck with me is that he's in the bedroom with Carol and Forrest is watching, and he says, "Oh, you have such a nice ass. Do you mind showcasing your ass?" And,
What a great
and
choice
you're
of words.
immediately, you're immediately remembering how he showcased his ass
I did not.
in the fucking photographs. Yes.
He's an ass showcaser.
His humongous ass. It was like the ass end of a fucking horse. It was so big and
He's a big
hairy.
fella.
He's a big fella. But you know that the self-hatred that he has is evidenced by the scratching out of his face and reminiscing of when his cock mattered, where it doesn't now to the person that he most wants it to matter to, is his wife, of course.
And it's.
What did she call it? Full on? Full on?
Are you full on? He's like, no, not yet. The other thing that he expresses is a thing that I've heard a lot. I've heard people in the there's this new thing called the manosphere, where it's young men just fed up with the whole trying to find a woman or something, or just being like hyper masculine in a super weird way. And I've heard people like that say that you can get to a point where if you're not attractive enough, then like women just don't see you remotely sexually. And Floyd mentions that like before, women would look at me from across a room and be like, huh. And now it's just I'm invisible.
He said, huh, he's cute.
Right, exactly. So
that's what he said, which I found odd because he's an awfully big guy to be called cute.
Well, and what's extra funny about this is that particular actor has this huge fan base of women that think he's super sexy. And like when he was on Stranger Things, I've mentioned this before, but like that's when like it was part of him. He was part of the coinage of the term dad bod, of like women that think men that are a little chubby are pretty sexy. And so it's ironic because in the real world he's considered quite attractive, but for him to be playing a character that feels unattractive is, I don't know, a thing. But
good acting.
yeah,
Good acting. I think it's well done. We'll see how we feel about the conclusion. And you asked an interesting question about is there a second season, and I don't know that Bateman. It doesn't strike me as somebody who would give a fuck about a second season. You know, it's not like his one that was what was Arkansas? No, what was
Ozarks.
it? Ozarks, which I never did end up finding it. And
I never got into it.
I could watch it for a while
myself.
It was good.
Yeah, that everyone said it was.
I thought it was good.
No, I think this is a one and done storyline. I don't think you can have a spin-off where Carol moves to another city or something. Like it doesn't. I don't think that's possible. So
No, I don't. And I mean, it could be Carol in prison. And Clark still involved. I mean, it could turn into an escape plan. I mean,
but however, you can't have any more Floyd in a second season, because like what they did was a super bold thing of like killing one of the primary characters in episode 1, and then basing everything on flashbacks. And like that's an interesting way to tell a story. So like where you already know how this particular character ends, but once they reveal how that happened, I don't think they can flash back to him anymore. I don't know. We'll see.
Hey, was there a follow up to what was the detective show? Oh God, now I'm drawing blanks on the actress.
Mayor of Easttown with Kate Winslet.
Yeah, was there a follow up? Did we talk about this? Did you mention it? That there was.
You bring it up. There is a season 2 likely to begin filming in 2027.
Wow.
So.
That's a ways away. Filming in 2027.
Time flies, bro.
We'll
be talking about it in no time. But yeah, so that's rumored. The rumor mill.
Well, so Rooster has been entertaining. It's very well written. You know, it is. Who is the director?
Bill Lawrence.
Is it?
Is the creator. So it's created by.
Yeah, it's
hold on. It's created by Bill Lawrence, and it's directed by Zach Braff, who was Bill Lawrence created the TV show Scrubs, in which Zach Braff was the star 25 years ago.
Isn't Zach Braff in the telephone commercials?
Yes, I think he has. I don't see commercials, but I heard an interview with him recently, and I think he said that
a lot of commercials. I mean,
like
a lot of showing
between Scrubs and this, he's been like running a company with his co-star from Scrubs, making commercials, and like he's had Super Bowl commercials and shit. So like, yes, definitely. But
interesting.
But they're bringing back Scrubs. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but part of why he was being interviewed in the thing that I heard him on was they have like a 25 anniversary reunion, and the other guy that I only know from Scrubs is the one that plays the university president.
Yeah, he was in a war movie with.
Because he's a funny dude.
He was in the war movie with Charlie Sheen. Charlie did his eye-opening premiere movie.
Hot something.
What the heck was?
Let's see.
Wow. Drawing a blank.
John McGlinny is his name, and he's.
I got a bad feeling about this. He's
been in a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Platoon.
Platoon, yes. Platoon.
Yeah.
He was in Platoon, big time.
Okay.
Played a character that was afraid of dying and was going to go home. Was a short timer.
Yeah. So
very
Rooster's.
He has no hair on his body, by the way, which is odd.
Okay.
When you see him in the sauna.
Yes.
He has no hair anywhere on his body that you can see.
Maybe. Yeah.
That probably makes him more attractive to you, but I'm not sure.
I don't know how I feel about hairy men. I guess less hair is probably better.
You like Robin Williams. Nobody was hairier.
He was very hirsute. Yes. So, yeah, Rooster's very good. The way that he keeps getting disciplinary action for offending the woke people.
He did an Egyptian dance. And they had a short list of dance moves that were prohibited, and he had to sign a piece of paper. Oh God! It's some unexpected stuff in it, and the persona of being more like Rooster is slowly emerging. But before it's over with, there's this iconic image of him that's shown in the previews.
In the intro.
That shows him walking in campus in full Rooster attitude with his glasses. And we haven't seen that scene yet. So he's just now coming out of his shell a little bit with the night out with the boys, and then the sex in the office with the secretary who, Lord.
What a weird writing choice to be like, okay, we're going to make the protagonist have this superhuman ability to throw coins, and then bring that in to beer pong later, and just
yes.
What a bizarre thing. Yes. The
all for that purpose.
Yeah, I guess. So
they might have worked backwards from that.
Very, very likely. Yeah.
It's
right. How can we make it so that he wins beer pong even when he's drunk? Yeah.
So, I have a story to tell.
I have a short story too.
I had it's April in Michigan, which means that the
flowers,
the trout that are born in the river, the rainbow trout are born in the river, and they migrate to the Great Lake, and they live in the Great Lake, and then in the spring they come back. Well, the fact that these rainbow trout are living in the Great Lake and feeding and coming back makes them not just a rainbow trout anymore, it makes them a steelhead. And that's different from that's the difference. A rainbow trout that stays in the river all its life is a rainbow trout, but when it migrates and lives in the Great Lake for a while and comes back, it's called a steelhead. But anyway, they're running, and I went up and fished and was pleasantly surprised at the end of the day that I had hooked 3, but then I had to leave, so I was 0 for 3. And then the next time I went, the water was not as deep as the first time, but still treacherous because it's been kind of flooding. Mm-hmm. And I hooked 4, and then I didn't land any. And then I said, you know what, I'm going to spend the night. And just before I spent the night, there was torrential rains for 3 days. And I called ahead and said, I've got a cabin up there. I'm going to spend the night and fish, but are the conditions of the river terribly flooded or what? And he said, the river is contained within its corridor, and it hasn't gone over its corridor. And so, and in some parts of the river, it's actually gone down, not in the part I was going to, as it turns out. When I got there, one of the things I said early on in my little walk to the river was, boy, are you full of shit. The river had flooded over its banks and was 50 fucking feet into the woods.
Oops.
So the path that I usually walk, I was calf deep in water. And by the time I got to where I crossed, I could see it was a good 10 inches. And my margin of error from my thigh to the top of my waders is about 10 inches. And so I had bought a walking stick, which collapses and you hold it in a little pouch on your side, snap it open, it snaps open easy enough. I used that stick, inched my way across the rushing river, and much to my delight, I made it across, and I had a ½ inch to spare. And I was leaning forward the whole time to make sure that I didn't get pushed back from the water. Fished a couple of flooded holes, and no luck. And at one point, I thought, well, I've got this staff, this weighted staff in my hand.
I have a question. It seems to me like when the water's that high, you're gonna catch fewer fish, but that's just an intuition. I don't.
Hold on to that question.
Okay. I've got it.
I went to my first hole and fished it, and nothing. I went to my second hole, which was quite difficult to get across, but because I know the river intimately, I knew that if I veered to the left, that there would be a big bank of gravel that I could walk on under the water, under the river. And in fact there was, and so once again I didn't go over my boots, but I got to the point where I was ready to fish that hole, which I had crossed the river to fish the hole, a trough, a deeper spot where the fish are. Here's the point. Whether the river is deep or shallow doesn't matter to the fish. The fish are going to be where they're out of sight as much as possible. And they're going to be in that part of the river where it isn't all that hard for them to float and keep their mouth opening and closing, hoping for bait to go in. And going after the occasional minnow or whatever. So you fish the same places. The challenge is it's more difficult to get to them.
Okay.
Because now the river is wider. However, this river is not that wide to begin with, so it's never too wide to be able to get to the spots where the fish are, or ordinarily are. In this case, I thought, well, I better take my staff, and I tied it to my vest, and I started fishing, and then I realized something had happened, and I realized that the weight on my chest from the staff was missing, and I looked, and it was gone.
Oh, no.
My $70 staff that was essential for me to survive the day, now I'm in water where I need it to go back or I need it to go forward, but I need it. And much to my great surprise, I looked down and it was at my feet. It had filled with water and sunk. So I thought, well, I can just reach down and get it. And I tried to reach it, and I was a good 6 or 7 inches from it. And I tried to kick it, and it wouldn't come up, and I thought, well, I'll just have to get it. When I went to get it, I went so deep with my left shoulder and went over my shoulder, up to my neck, and the water went into my mouth. And I came up, and the water rolled from my neck, shirt sleeve, down the shirt sleeve, and rolled out of the bottom of my raincoat. And I thought, well, this is kind of early to be wet and going to be cold. It was 40 degrees.
Oops.
But I got it. So I crossed the river, I went up the river, and then I thought, well, I don't need the staff. So this time I smartly took my vest, which has a buckle, and put it in the buckle. So there's no way for it to come undone. And so I fished. And then I realized that something had changed, and what had happened was I opened my vest to get some line, and I forgot the staff was there, and it went into the river. And where was it again? Right at my feet. This time I managed to kick it up enough to use my reel as a hook, and plunged my reel in the water and hooked it up and grabbed it. And I thought, this ain't going to happen again.
Well, it seems like it will.
Anyway, I ended up hooking into 2 fish in about my 4th hole, rainbow and a steelhead, missed them both, went up to my next hole, missed another steelhead that was over 2 feet long, splashing and thrashing, had another rainbow, one of the bigger ones I hooked there, didn't land any of them, and then trudged all the way up to my last hole where I never go any further because there's no real good fishing any further, and it's a lot of gravel where the fish otherwise would lie, and I was rewarded because there were 6 or 8 fish there. And I hooked into like 7 of them, but never landed them. I was underneath the tree, and the first throw I had caught in the branches of the tree, and I broke off, and I had to retie everything. That happened to me 5 more times. A fish would get on, the fish would break off, the line would go in the tree, I'd pull the line down from the tree, it would break off, I'd retie. Then it started snowing. Then I started shivering. Then it got to be 5 o'clock. And I forgot what time it got dark. And I looked up across the river and said, there's an empty cabin. I'm going to do something I've never done. I'm going to trespass, get the fuck out of this river because I'm too tired and clumsy now. You know, I've been fishing since 11:30. Upstream in water, thigh deep, fighting it, walking it. I got out, trespass, got home, got to the truck, had rented a cabin, $110, went to the nearest bar, had a beer, went to the nearest bar from that, ate a little bit, had another beer, then went to the cabin, turned left off this throughway and drove through the woods, curving, through the woods, and came upon a $500,000 log cabin that could sleep 6. Every drawer with antler drawer
handles, knobs,
handles, everything just all log, and watched the NCAA championship and Michigan winning the NCAA and got up the next day. It was so flooded that I went to my next spot. I didn't even dress to fish because I knew it would be too deep. It was so deep.
How deep was
that
it?
Where I ordinarily could walk down or drop down about 2 feet and walk on another path and then take another foot drop into the water, which would be knee deep. Now, all of that was flooded all the way to the top of the path. And my first step off the path, I would have been over my head where I used to fish.
Wow.
So I just packed up and went home. I had 12 fish on. I was 0 for 12, so I didn't land any. God knows, I never even had my net out. But I played a lot of them, up and down the river, taking out
Crazy
line.
way to spend a day. And what a...
And a night.
Yeah, what a... you don't come off looking like the smartest fisherman in the world, but whatever. There you are.
Well,
You're,
I wrote my brothers, took 2 pictures of the flooded river and wrote my brothers a note that said, PM flooded conditions, fast waters, very deep. Only an idiot would would wade these waters. And then I wrote 0 for 12.
well, very steel-headed of you.
Very steely, very steely.
So...
But, it was fun.
I have a weird
Challenging.
little story where yesterday I was out for my afternoon walk, and my little fishing village here there's this trend in Spanish towns, and I think I've seen it elsewhere in Europe, to somewhere in the main town square have an artist create some really big letters that say the name of your town as like an art work or whatever. And people they take selfies there, and when they first put these in, all the kids would climb on them, and they started getting sort of damaged, and so then they put this tiny little chain around it that like anyone could jump over, but like it was enough of a suggestion that like people stopped climbing on them. And they are some sort of plastic, like it's not metal, there's some sort of like foam thing, and they were painted red, and they put them in, I mean, judging from the pictures I have of my kids crawling on them, it's at least 10 years ago. And I was walking by them, and like they've been sort of in bad shape, but yesterday, like they looked really bad. Like the paint was coming off, and it was just like in total disrepair. And I thought, well, boy, that's kind of a metaphor for like the town not being well cared for or whatever, right? If like the name of the town is falling apart and deteriorating, that kind of sucks.
Does not bode well.
Right?
Does not bode well.
And so I took a picture of it, and then later in the day I uploaded the picture to the town Facebook group where people share pictures from around town, and I specifically said no comment. Like, I didn't want to be like, what an interesting metaphor for the state of the government or whatever. I just posted the photo. And then later, that was yesterday. And then today on Facebook, I got a direct message, only to me, from the mayor of the town, saying, "Hey, saw your picture. Just so you know, we're in the process of like scraping off all the paint so that we can paint them properly. So like, this is like work."
Did everyone see that?
Private to me. And so I was like, okay, that's. I said great, and I went and I deleted the post from the other place. But
I bet you did.
But it was just like all I did was take a photo of this current state of a thing in our town. I didn't make any political judgment about it, but it was well done on his part to reach out to me and be like, "Hey, just so you know." He could have commented on the original post, I guess, but whatever. It was interesting wandering into the government, but like, I sort of know the mayor in general. Like, he says hi to me when we pass on the street. So
yeah, right.
It's a small town,
right? Sure. Like any elected official, they're known to. They should be known
right.
to all.
And for sure, he knows that. I'm the weird American immigrant that's lived here for a long time or something. I don't know. So like, he probably knows who I am. But it was fun to get a direct message from a government official, like, "Hey, dude, what the fuck?"
So in the news. And I don't want to linger on this because it's sad, but there was a statement on True Social from the President of the United States of America that he was committed to committing war crimes by trying to eliminate an entire civilization, that being the Persian civilization.
He didn't specify.
One of the oldest civilizations in the world, and basically saying he was going to kill every man, woman, and child of Persian descent.
That was implied.
And all I could think of, was a controversy that Obama caused when he wore that tan suit to his press conference.
So crazy. Yep.
Did you happen to see, and I recommend you do, and maybe even post it, but listen to, there's a great clip of Obama's eulogy to Jesse Jackson, where he talks about the current climate and how this is a situation that Jesse Jackson would never, ever run from, and in fact would lead.
Nice.
And it is so riveting.
I haven't seen that, but I imagine.
He is such a good speaker. Oh my God.
He's a hell of an orator. Yep.
And so now we got, I keep asking the question, whatever happened to Gaza? Is that like completely annihilated, or Israel is fighting war fronts on 5 different fronts?
Yep.
Gaza, Lebanon, fucking Iran.
It's just everything gets ratcheted up.
Who else?
Every day, and it's hard to remember what we were upset about, like Venezuela and Maduro and like.
Oh well, yeah.
Like
wag the dog.
How many years
man.
ago was that? Right. So,
wag the dog.
There's one other news story that I think might be interesting to talk about. So, every few months, these AI companies say, "Hey, we've trained a new model, and it's the smartest it's the smartest boy we've ever had, and look at how smart this thing is," and blah de blah. And in the same way that Apple every year says, "This is the best iPhone we've ever made," and we're like, "I would damn sure hope so." It's like, if you didn't improve on last year's model, then what are you even doing? But so this week, one of the AI companies, Anthropic, announced that they've trained a new model, and they're not releasing it to the public because it's too dangerous. It's too smart. And they published like a 200-page document about this, where they talked about how they let it look at some computer operating systems and some web browsers, and it was able to find like hacking vulnerabilities in some of the most secure computer systems that we have. Like, it was able to figure out a way to gain total control over the kind of operating system that like all the internet computers use. So they're like, "Oh shit, that's a little dangerous." So their plan is to give this to the companies that make all those computers and operating systems and things, so that they can find and fix all of these bugs before they release it to the world, because it could just break everything.
And they're making these companies pay for this.
Probably. So there's a cynical way to look at it of like, hey, we just spent $1 bazillion training this model, and we're going to charge a super premium price for it. But there's other ways. Like, one of the experiments they did, they put it in like a super well-contained like sandbox is what they call it. They tried to make sure that it couldn't escape from this computer cage, we'll call it, and they told it, "Hey, try and get out and tell me, the researcher, send me a message that you've gotten out." And it thought for a bit, and it was able to, not only was it able to escape, but it also went and published proof that it had escaped in like various like public websites. And then the researcher received an email from the AI while they were sitting in a park eating a sandwich. It was like, "Hey, I'm out." And these stories, boy, they're awfully scary. Like the AI doomers, as they're called, the ones that think that AI is going to destroy humanity, have been talking about stuff like this for a long time, and how we need to, like 10 years ago, it was thought that any research that we do is going to have to be on this like super isolated, air-gapped is the term, where like you don't connect it to the internet at all to do anything. But what actually has happened is, as soon as we get we've not only are we not keeping it from the internet, we're feeding the entire internet into it, and then letting it also talk to the internet and do whatever in research it wants.
Right.
So it's kind of, it has everyone thinking how scary, and like apparently these bugs and hacks that it's found are all like bugs and hacks and things that humans could have found, but you just have to be super persistent. Like, you have to look very carefully at 100,000 lines of code and think about each line, and then you can sort of figure out, like, a human could have figured it out if they had, like,
100 years.
Right, exactly. But this thing just goes and does it. So that's kind of terrifying.
Well, yeah, all in all, it reminds me of how I feel about my age, which is that before the worst of this comes to pass, I will be long
Right.
gone. And the relative difficulty I have still using technology does not enamor me of it. And I'm just so okay with that. I'm like, it's like less is more, simpler is better.
Right.
I'm actually fine. You know, I you know, it's and I'll tell you, I gotta jump into what's happening here with the rains. The torrential rains have come an undeniable spring with grass greening and trees blooming, and then while I'm up north in the river, it's snowing, blizzard conditions. Wow. For 10 minutes, and then the sun comes out, and you know, and now as it comes into today, it was like 65 degrees, and I can't get used to walking out with shirt sleeves. You know, I mean,
Sure.
I'm still just putting on a coat and all that because it's not quite trustworthy. But there's this magical stuff that happens this time of year for everyone, but for me, I appreciate it maybe more than others. Who knows? I don't know about others. But I love this transition because I really am not happy in the winter. I am not happy in the winter. This year was a concussion on slipped ice, etc., etc.
Is that a new thing? Did you did you used to be happier in the winter? And
Yes, I used to play winter sports. I used to ski, among other things, cross-country ski and downhill ski. And I ice fished back in the day when I was growing up, and done that for a while. But also hiked and whatnot and camped out in the winter and did a bunch of things that I haven't done forever since I was in my 60s because it's just not comfortable anymore. You know, I mean, shit. I'm fucking sore and miserable half the fucking time in a nice warm bed. So, I don't know. I think about the old days. You know.
hey, you just hold on. You just reminded me of a joke I heard recently, and I just found it.
Oh, so let's hear it.
How to catch a polar bear. Cut a hole in the ice. Take one pea and put it by the hole, and then when the bear comes to take a pea, kick it in the ice hole. How dumb is that?
Well, that's rather uncouth.
Kick him in the ice hole.
Oh Lord. Yeah, I like. I just read a book about the Australian outback, The Lost Man, I think it's called, something like that. But it's so different, you know. And I read all those Philip Roth books, and pretty much I read like 8, 9 of them in a row, 8 of them anyway, and still a few I haven't read. But I wanted to switch out of that, and so it's great to pick up this new. I like a big book. I like to keep, you know, just keep my face in it first. Because I only read 2 or 3 pages. Sometimes I can get to an end of a chapter before I go to bed, but I get sleepy before I finally drift away.
Right.
Day after day, I'm more confused. Yet I look for the light in the pouring rain. You know that's a game that I hate to lose. and I'm feeling the strain. Ain't it a shame? Oh, give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. Hey, give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. Do-do-do-do.
Dude.
Beginning to think I'm wasting time. I don't understand the things I do. The world outside looks so unkind. And I'm counting on you to carry me through. Oh, give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. Wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. Hey, give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. And when my mind is free, you know a melody can move me. And when I'm feeling blue, your guitar's coming through to move me. Thanks for the joy you've given me. I want you to know I believe in your song. And rhythm and rhyme and harmony. You've helped me along, making me strong. Oh, give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. Wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. Hey, give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. Wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. Oh, take me. Oh, take me. Give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. Wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. Oh, give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away.
All right. I drifted away there for a little bit. All right.
Oh, give me the beat. Woohoo!
Easy.
Out, baby. See you in 2 weeks.
Okay, that's it for episode number 277. You can find the show notes at happyhour.fm/277. The astronauts made it home safely back to the planet Earth. You can help support the show at patreon.com/happyhour, where you can support us at the Gin Martinis level and watch videos of Dennis singing and singing and singing. See you in a fortnight, mate.